media these days, how they're constantly letting our government off the hook for no good reason. Frankly, I think that's insulting. It's clear that they let us off the hook for a very good reason, because we paid them $600 million. You don't get stellar headlines like these without greasing the wheels.
We have all the time in the world. This is also why we omitted certain news agencies, and I guess I should cover this, from this press conference, including the Toronto Star and CBC, who were banned from this press conference. And the reason they were banned is twofold. First, this entire week, the CBC, Toronto Star, Yahoo News was retweeting and reposting, a few others, kept putting stories out that our GoFundMe was frozen or suspended because of nefarious reasons. Right-wing truckers, that was the dangerous people. And it was hysterical. Me and Tamara were talking. Remember one day when the Toronto Star story came out that GoFundMe has frozen the account, and I called her, and I said, "Is everything okay?" She's like, "Yeah, I just got off the phone with them 45 minutes ago. They're great. They're helping out. Everything's going to be sorted out." That was purely just a fake story. Yeah. And was that fake story to sabotage the donations that were coming in? Probably. We'll see a lot of that in media. And then when the Toronto Star put that cartoon that Jordan Peterson put up, that sort of extremism, we're not going to tolerate. So we know if we had invited the Toronto Star, CBC, all these mainstream news organizations will do. They always do. And Kean, I'm sure you've seen it many, many times. They'll come in with 5 people, and they'll have these giant cameras, and they'll take up half the floor space and bully everybody else. And that's not what this is about. This is about us coming together, talking to one another, answering any questions that you have. If we have the answer, we'll tell you. If we don't have the answer, we'll tell you. We don't know. And just have a nice conversation with each other and go from there.
Can I ask, what's the status of the truckers? I had heard that not all of them got to the Hill yesterday. Some are stuck outside of the city still. What's going on? Where are they sitting? Are they well fed? What's going on?
The problem is when people ask the truckers, which truckers? There's so many convoys coming from different places. We've all lost track of them. There's a couple of convoys coming from Quebec alone, one that's coming from the Maritimes, a few from Western Canada, and they all got separated. I don't know if you saw the drone footage of the trucks, how many tens of miles long, and they were sitting for hours and hours just to make a right turn. So sections of them decide, okay, we'll turn around, we'll take a different route. And the Canadian infrastructure couldn't handle the number of truckers that were coming in mass in one direction. So that gives an idea of how many there were. We did have that issue last night where the truckers were held over on the highway and they couldn't get into Ottawa. Last I heard, it was getting resolved. Do you know the status of it?
I've been speaking with the guys. A lot of them were able to get turned around and went back up to the truck stop regroup.
Okay.
They're going to be coming back in smaller groups apparently.
Okay, yeah. So that's yes, no, all answers all at once. There's just such an overwhelming number of trucks that it's become a logistics nightmare, which is great. That's what we want. We want a logistics nightmare for the government because they solve all our problems, right? Well, they can solve this problem for us then.
This is an easy way to fix this.
Yeah,
super easy.
Yeah, that's right.
How long do you guys plan on staying in Ottawa? How long will this go? Is it till you get what you want?
Well, it's going to be summer soon, right? So right now, yeah, it's really cold, but we hang in there. The days are going to get longer. We can take this block party and put it in overdrive, have some dancing outside in the heat. So we're in this for the long haul.
More
we
than
don't
2
have
weeks.
a time limit. The thing is with trucks, it's interesting because they're designed to be on the road, especially the long haul ones, for an indefinite period of time. As long as you keep fuel in them, they can sit there for weeks and months. And now we have, I don't know, $8 million?
It's probably over 8.5 now.
So $8 million worth of fuel, so I don't know, 2023, 2024, I guess we can do. Right?
All right, those are my questions.
Andrew Lawton, True North, since you brought up the money, what are your costs at this point that have been spoken for of the GoFundMe?
Well, we'll be using it primarily to pay some of these truckers. A lot of these truckers have lost their jobs and have nothing, right? So it's going to be primarily for that. And I guess we're going to have to look at rooms, because if we have to stay, we may need some rooms and food and stuff like that. That's what it was primarily designed for. When we set it up, it was to cover the cost of the journey. So, yeah, primarily fuel. That's probably one of the biggest.
I mean, there's all sorts of other expenditures
Yeah.
that will occur. So, for example, I mean, trucks do have regular things that occur. They may have GPS sensors or whatever it might be. That's why we say cost of the journey in the GoFundMe, because there's going to be some sort of miscellaneous costs we never even anticipated. One thing's for sure, the money's not for us. We're not touching it. It's not. This is for them. They're the ones who are making the sacrifice. They're the ones who are sitting there in their truck overnight and, starting it every few hours to get some heat in the cabin. That's where the money's going.
Is any of it going to compensate truckers who have not been able to work or are not working because they're partaking in the convoy?
I guess that's to be determined. It depends if they're involved or their level of involvement in the journey coming here, right? That's really the primary focus. We also never anticipated that we would have this amount of engagement and support and donations. It's given us a little bit of flexibility, primarily allowing us to take over, to take this movement and extend it. Originally you get 20 grand, you get a few trucks, you come here, you hang out for a few weeks, you send a message to the government. But now for us, for blue collar people, this is kind of endless resources when it's focused just on that primary goal of fueling them, keeping them fed. A lot of them, we say keeping them fed. Most of these trucks, they have a house attached to them, so they have a fridge, they have protein bars and foods and non-perishables, so they can sit there for months. They're already taken care of. But if people need, we'll be helping them with that as well.
The Ottawa police confirmed yesterday not a single incident of violence reported, not a single injury. What's your response to the media that, generally speaking, put the narrative in the last week that this was just a powder keg waiting to explode?
Are those the same guys who said our GoFundMe was frozen? I don't know, fake news media? That's why they're not here.
Can I just jump into something? Last night, a black shirt from the Ottawa Police,
Yes.
a ranking officer from the Ottawa Police was giving a press conference, and he was asked the same question, what about the January 6th movement? What about the violence? What about if they try and take government? And the Ottawa Police guy just said, they're cool as cucumber, and he said, I understand what's going on in America. I understand what our American brothers are doing, but this is Canada. This is a peaceful country. We see no intent whatsoever coming from anyone who has any violent tendencies towards the government. So the Ottawa Police, God bless their hearts, that one guy dismantled the entire January 6th narrative, if you will, and I think it took him like 20 seconds. It was brilliant.
And we've been working with local law authorities all across the way, and they've all been fantastic, right? Like, we got an escort through Ontario.
This is Manitoba border. We were picked up by unmarked OPP.
Yeah.
And they continued us all the way through to Ottawa. The entire way. We're full communication, full support. Hats off to
Chris was on the phone with them probably once
That's why
every
my
couple
voice
hours.
is going.
Yeah, like, they were fantastic.
It's been absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
So, Mandy Dalton, National Telegraph, has anybody from Justin Trudeau's staff reached out to talk to anybody at all, or is he still hiding away?
What are you talking about? It's the weekend. Isn't he in Tofino or something? I don't understand something.
He's self-quarantining for his negative test, but he was exposed to COVID.
Well, he's self-quarantined for a negative test, and then 24 hours later, he was going on a trip with his family.
Oh, I didn't
Pick
see
one.
that.
Which one is it?
They
Right?
they whisked him away for his security, is what I was told.
Oh, little snowflake.
So no one at all has reached out for any kind of statement.
Why would they? The
Just
entire
ignoring
world is
the
fixated
thousands
on
and
this.
thousands
We're
of
just
people?
we're just a little minority freedom.
Yes.
country.
Yeah.
12 trucks.
12
12 trucks. 12 trucks.
Yeah.
12 trucks? Who said 12 trucks?
The Liberal government is not who
I
said
think
that.
it was on the news media. I believe it was Sandy Ronaldo sometimes.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
BBC said about 100 trucks arrived in Ottawa.
That's
Yeah.
good, right?
Has
I
it-
think it's a race to the bottom to see whose reputation is going to be destroyed first. Politicians like Justin Trudeau and the Liberal Party, or the mainstream media. It's a tight race. Right?
And do you see do you see this making a difference? Like, ideally, yes, mandates will be dropped, but...
It already has.
Well, I saw in Saskatchewan.
They're getting rid of the COVID passport.
Ontario is pretty hard on their restrictions. They're one of the worst. Do you see them making a difference in Ontario? Or do
Well,
you
and
think
that's-
they're going to dig in for as long as they can?
You bring up something very interesting, which is we all talk about Justin Trudeau because we started with the mandates and the entry passport into Canada. I call it the Stasi passport. Okay, but let's not forget our provincial leaders. And all the provincial leaders that have been locking us down, you know what they are? They're conservative. So we're not going to play this game anymore that the Liberals are good and the Conservatives are, sorry, the Liberals are bad and the Conservatives are good. No, they're all horrible. All of them. They should be ashamed of themselves. So this is not a partisan movement. That's why you don't see political parties. You know, they're all trying to posture. Yeah, Aaron O'Toole showed up with a trucker. But if you look at even the picture they took, nobody around Aaron O'Toole is even remotely interested in the conversation. So the first thing is, I think we're going to see shifts, hopefully, within the direction of the Conservative Party. Aaron O'Toole can be yoinked out and replaced with somebody. And I think you're starting to see some waves also in the Liberal Party. That's why you notice they were floating stories about, well, maybe Chrystia Freeland would be the new leader. Good God, would be just as bad, if not worse. But at least there's some sort of shift. They're testing in terms of messaging. Is it time to get rid of Prime Minister Blackface? I mean, Trudeau.
Are you guys pleased? Maxime Bernier has sort of had a rally here in downtown Ottawa today. Are you associated with him at all? Are you pleased with the support he's given the convoy? What's your thoughts on the...
We're not associated. We took a vote as an organization. All the committee heads are the organizers, and we are not partisan. We had he reached out to us, and a couple other ones reached out to us and wanted to get up and speak, and we said no. That's not what we're about. This is a grassroots movement, and no politicians are going to represent us. I mean, they're kind of the reason we're in this mess in the first place.
And the last thing we want is to have this whole idea of unity amongst Canadians from across the political spectrum and the cultural spectrum, to have that be detonated by politicization. So we're trying to avoid that. This is for Canadians, not for political parties.
When Parliament resumes this week, are you guys expecting that the convoy that's clogging up Wellington is going to cause them any difficulties? Do you expect the Liberals to even show up to work when you guys are here? Will the Conservatives, have you any idea?
Well, I think on the Liberal side, you'll see our strong leaders hide behind Zoom. Which is funny, an app that Google and Tesla said they will not allow on their platform because it's spyware from the Chinese government. Yet our government is using it. Anyways. But so I anticipate them hiding behind Zoom. And the Conservatives, I anticipate them slowly trickling out. I have had people in the Conservative Party reach out to me, MPs who I've known for quite some time. Quietly, we're supportive, and I'm like, that's great. You can get out there and show yourself and show that you're a leader, because you don't have a leader right now. So that, by the way, that would be my message to the Conservative Party. We all know Aaron O'Toole. Great. We look forward to meeting the leader of the Conservative Party.
Could I just, so I can get it on tape,
Yep.
you guys state your names and your organization?
Sure.
Tamara Leach, Freedom Convoy, Freedom Convoy 2022. Organizer, one of the co-organizers.
Can I spell your name?
Yes, of course. It's TAMARALICH.
Benjamin Victor. And I don't know, just a guy, drives a truck. Do a few other things, but that's primarily my focus here.
Where did you come from?
Ontario, from Toronto.
Chris Barber. I'm a business owner, trucking company owner in Saskatchewan, cross border. The guy that put all this kind of together with a few other people by an angry social media post. Barber, B-A-R-B-E-R.
And just one more question from me, kind of on a specific topic, but in general, I know a lot of people have kind of given up on humanity in general over the course of all this, but for myself personally, definitely like on the convoy out here at the stop, seeing people going around giving out boxes and boxes of hearty sandwiches, bags made up, like it had us in tears, bags with kids drawing notes for the truckers and writing them letters on cookies. Like
It was so moving.
Really
And we were, you know, that's gonna make me emotional, but we had so many people that would come up and hug us and just say, you know, tell their stories about how they've lost everything, or their mother died alone, or, you know, this lady, she was from Ontario. She had a 12-year-old boy who has muscular dystrophy, and he was rapidly losing the mobility in his hips because he couldn't go to a swimming pool for his swimming therapy.
oh,
But underneath all those stories that are so heartbreaking is just this determination and this resilience, right, of the Canadian people. And I mean, we've already won, because look at all those people out there. Yesterday, I've never seen so many smiles, right? Everyone's got hope again, and everyone's feeling pride to be a Canadian again, which is something that we haven't felt for so long, which is really important. So in that sense, we've already won.
Do you think this was more of a cultural moment in Canadian history than it was political?
Absolutely.
You guys oppose the vaccine mandates, but not necessarily vaccines.
To be clear, we're not
You're not
anti-vax.
anti-vaccine.
No, not at all.
Okay.
It's been a narrative that's been put out since the start.
Yeah, I'm fully vaccinated.
You're fully
I am.
vaccinated. Okay.